Good evening, campers, and welcome aboard the Starship Nightwish. I'm Commander Exorcist, and it is time once again for Talk O Tuesday. This is my weekly Elite Dangerous show where I pick a Galnet article, read it, talk about it, primarily from a lore perspective, but I will break the fourth wall if necessary. Now, before we get into this week's article, and it's a doozy, I want to talk about the article that came before it. I'm not going to do a whole video on that one, but if you get a chance, go back and read the article that Frontier published on the remaining two Titans. Now, we recently took out Titan Thor. Exceptional job, everyone. It was a great explosion. It was beautiful. But recently, Frontier published a Galnet article talking about, it was a warning, essentially, telling commanders to be careful if you're going into the Titan ruins. Now, I have a video on this channel of touring the Tyrannus ruins, and they're pretty neat. There's a lot of materials to be gathered. Doesn't seem to be really any danger that I saw, but this article hints and says that there may be individual Thargoids that survived the Titan destruction and may be operating deep within the ruins of the ships and also, to watch out for smaller vessels. It's possible to have a scout or something, or maybe even an interceptor pop up, I'm sure. But I'm not entirely, I don't have the lore memorized, and I don't have all the Galnet articles memorized. I don't remember them specifically mentioning individual Thargoids before. So that was a really unusual approach to the writing. So I know that everyone out there is speculating about what the cool new feature for Elite that's never been done before that's coming, or supposed to be coming very soon. We're running out of time in the year. I know everyone's kind of speculating on it, and there's been a lot of talk about potentially base building and things, but I'm holding out hope that it's on-foot Thargoids. That would be amazing to be able to finally fight the Thargoids face to face on the ground. If I had my choice of new features, that's what I would pick. I really would. I think we've done enough in space, and I think it's time that FPS get a little bit of love. But that's my personal opinion, and take it for what you will. But go check out the article. It's really interesting. So today, we're going to talk about the Federation. That's right, everybody's favorite second-class superpower. Go Empire. So there was recently an attempt at assassinating Jerome Archer, apparently. And so we're going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this event. And I read a little bit of this because it caught my attention. And this is one of those articles that I could say, okay, you know what? We don't necessarily need to go over this. But I think it's important that we go over this because there are some eerie parallels to some stuff that have happened before, especially with regards to transition of power in the Federation. So we're going to talk about this. We're going to take a look at the Kumo crew claims responsibility for the Nanomam 1 explosion. An explosion outside the Federal Republican Party offices on Nanomam 1 has claimed the lives of 3 government workers. The blast originated from a small shuttle waiting to collect Shadow President-elect Jerome Archer, who has spent the morning at the building on party business. Archer was reportedly approaching the vehicle at the time of the explosion, but was unharmed. So, somebody doesn't want Jerome to take over. Somebody doesn't want him in a position of power like that. And so, I'll talk about where this is now. And you may not remember, if you've been around since like the very beginning in 3301, then this might have a little bit of a parallel to it. But if you're new, I had to go look it up, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I was there for it. But I know the story, and the parallels between the two are striking. But the former president of the Federation called the Starship One incident, and so it was an attack basically the same way. So with Felicia Winters about to take power in the Federation, I think that everyone is in danger. I really do. And it might justify why she's been so reserved and a little distant as far as activities prior to taking office, because Hudson's predecessor died in a terrorist attack on Starship One. So that's it's a possibility. The parallels here are striking. I hope that history isn't repeating itself. At least Jerome made it out. But there's something really strange going on. And again, it's like I've mentioned before. Look at what's going on. We're in the middle of an apocalyptic war that spans a huge part of the galaxy, and you've got these petty squabbles that are still going on. It just, humanity never ceases to amaze me. While security services hunted for evidence among the wreckage, a public announcement from Archon Delane quickly claimed responsibility. All the surveillance technology in the galaxy could not prevent the Kumo crew from reaching Jerome Archer's personal vehicle. Only by our generosity does he live to learn from this event. He wraps himself in the cloak of the police state, blind to the real danger to people like him, complacency. As the Emperor recently discovered, all the wealth and titles humanity has to offer provide little protection when faced with reality. Their deaths would mean less than the message. Even if the Thargoid War is won, there are dangers waiting for you all that have been ignored far too long. So, the Thargoid War has been a big deal, and in the time that we fought the Titans and all this stuff, like I said in a previous video, that there's the weapons that we have, eventually we're going to turn them on each other. They may not be as effective on human targets at the moment, but modifications are coming. Changes are coming. That's what comes with war. And after we're done fighting a war, very rarely do we just kind of lay down arms and say, okay, that's it, we won. There's nothing else to do. No, we're probably we're gonna be so amped up in victory and that bloodlust that we're gonna need to fight something else. Most likely, it's gonna be civil, and that's unfortunate. It really is, but it's probably kind of the way things are going. The Empire has faced challenges like this. The Federation is facing challenges like this. People that are just so convinced that their petty ideology is so important that it's worth massacring people for. I mean, just get that. Just let that sink in. These people believe their belief systems, their ideology is worth murdering people for. It just in the midst of the Thargoid War. So it's a stern warning. It really is, and I hope the Federation is not taking this lightly. I hope that they are considering that, Jerome almost bought the farm, man. Like, he almost got it. And you can't sit back and just let that happen. And even if they're not actively seeking retaliation, you can't just sit back and say, oh, it's no big deal. No, this is a big deal. This really needs to be like security and safety for these people need to be at the forefront. I'm not a Jerome Archer fan. I'm not a political fan at all. I don't like any of these politicians, but I don't want to see them hurt like that. So, the bureaucracy needs to recognize that even in the face of victory, there's still danger. There's always going to be danger, and you cannot be complacent with security and understanding that the galactic struggle is always going on, always. Media commentators have speculated that this statement also claims responsibility for the attempted ambush of Emperor Arissa's convoy earlier this month. Same thing. A short response from an Imperial Senate spokesperson has dismissed such talk, saying that Delane was nothing more than a self-aggrandizing pirate eager for the spotlight. Hey, now, the Empire, I love my Empire, but they frustrate me sometimes because, a lot of times the Federation tends to lean really heavily into the response. They'll buy into the whole, there's Kumo crew around every corner, and it's a massive conspiracy. And then you have the Empire that's on the complete opposite spectrum, and they're like, it's not a big deal. This person's a liar. They don't have any real say, and like they just kind of dismiss them. Like, come on, guys, like, can't we meet in the middle? What's the Alliance doing? What are they? Can they be like the Goldilocks superpower and say, okay, can we all come together and just have a balanced approach to our response to this? The latest incident highlights growing concerns that the core systems face a significant period of post-Thargoid invasion uncertainty. Pressing concerns include a cooled economic climate, widespread population movements, and significant military spending by all superpowers. That is true. This is all the stuff that I've already been saying. Once the war is over, you have this massive war machine. You can't just turn it off. What do you do with it? How do you dismantle it effectively without making everyone angry that you're doing it and pitting sides against each other? Because once the common enemy is gone, the old squabbles are going to come back. And this is what you're seeing here. And this isn't new. Like, this is not a new thing. This isn't a thing that's exclusive to the Federation or the Empire or the Alliance. It's really not. This is something that has always happened. In some of the greatest conflicts in history, when the victor is done, there's somebody else that wants to fight. Always. The fight is never really over when it comes to these kind of grand conflicts, because even if you're not actively fighting, you're going to end up fighting, migration problems. You're going to have resettlement problems, military spending, military cuts, because there are going to be cuts coming. And so what to do with that excess equipment? That stuff ends up on the black market. It ends up getting used against people like Jerome. There's just all these things that we have to consider getting out of the war. What comes next? And so when the Thargoid War is over, and there's been a lot of speculation, what happens when the Thargoid War is over? Do we kill the last Titan and that's it? What if, just putting on my conspiracy hat, what if we get a break from the Thargoid conflict? We take out the last Titan, and at least for the moment, the galaxy is safe from significant Thargoid incursion. I'm not going to say that they're completely gone, but what if they're safe from at least that significant Thargoid threat? Okay, so we got that. It's a prime opportunity for people like this to take advantage of the weakened states, the weakened military states, because we are in a weakened position. We've been fighting for so long. Stockpiles are probably low. Ships are damaged and needing constant repair. People are tired. You're going to have people leaving the service when the military conflict is over. Opportunities to retire and resettle. You're going to have people take advantage of stuff like this. What if we see an interpower war of some kind, or an interpower conflict, or some kind of a civil conflict in the Federation, or I doubt it'll come to the Empire. Could, who knows? But what if we see something like that? That would be devastating, not just for the morale of people who have fought so hard to keep things together, to keep the peace, and to beat the Thargoids and bring back, what we consider peace to the galaxy. Because what it does is it makes us weak, and it shows our human weaknesses. And then who's to say that a Thargoid siege ship or something much more massive shows up, and we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Because then you have all these fractured parts that used to be whole that may not be ready for the next phase, whatever that is. Because, we know that the Titans they're a strategy. Okay, they're part of the larger Thargoid response. I don't think the Titans are the penultimate Thargoid attack vehicle. I don't. I think that we're in line for something else. I don't know what, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm glad that Jerome is okay. I mean, there's just some eerie parallels between Jerome and some of the previous members of the Federation administration. So as long as he doesn't ban Onion Head, I think he'll be okay. Everybody, these are the Disciples. If you would like to support this channel, like this video, subscribe to the channel. leave a comment. Tell me about your interest in the Federation and Jerome's not dying from his shuttle exploding. And if you would like to support, patreon.com/Commander Exorcist is the way to do it. And that's going to be it for Talk O Tuesday today. Thank you all for the support of my crew and my cast of crew members. We debuted a new cast member last week, I think it was, and that one was I'm just going to kind of come out of character for a moment. That one was very difficult to do, and it just both physically to keep up the accent and do the bit. It was also very nerve-wracking to debut a new character. It's really a challenge to do those kind of things because there's no baseline for it. So that is the baseline. It's like, well, how is JD going to be received? I know how Prez is received. El Presidente is well loved, and he probably shouldn't be, but he is, and we love Prez. But I was glad that JD got the warm reception that he did. But just back to normal today. So everybody, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I'm Commander Exorcist. Take care, fly safe, and I will see you out there. Good night.